dude,
This is a pale comparison to that.
Really? What's it called?
Just the HEB store brand. I don't even know.
HEB, but there's only one store in Texas, or what? Because I will fly. We will take a road trip and check it out.
We visited Texas for my daughter's birthday, and it was worth going there just to buy some shit.
Just for that store? You went to that store?
Well, we went there while we were there specifically. We're going to be in Texas. We're going to stop at HEB for sure.
HEB.
Yeah.
HEB. HEB.
And for here, everything's better.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what it stands for? That's freaking awesome. That's freaking killer. Right on. What is up, podcast? And welcome to the Grillfellas Podcast Network. We have another amazing show for you today. This is just a beginning of what we're going to start doing. This is a series that we're going to be going through, a series called the BBQ Roundtable. Now, of course, Ray's Flav is on a budget, so our table isn't exactly round. It's more of a straight rectangular table. But one day we'll get there. We'll get a bigger house and we'll get a big round table. We'll all have to do it in the palace someday, but we'll get there. So welcome to the show, guys. I have a bunch of killer guests, some local experts on the actual subject of barbecue. This is the BBQ Roundtable, and welcome to the show. I have, first of all, you're right, Mike?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Let me see. Let me get you some sound. Let's see.
I was checking on my connection.
Is it on over here?
No, that's you.
Me right here.
I think on the other, yeah.
Here we go.
Oh, there you go.
Is that you, got me?
Action.
We are
Yeah.
live. Fantastic.
Take one.
Fantastic.
Come on, man. I thought we were professional here.
This is our first barbecue roundtable. We're all learning here. The table.
Yeah, for barbecue, if it doesn't get messed up at least once, it's barbecue. So
Barbecue could be a disaster. I heard if you mess that up.
Oh, man.
All right. We're these guys were telling stories earlier. My God. All right. So I'm gonna start introducing the guys that we have around the table. You can kind of see the Bill's back of the head there. You can definitely see both mics. And
we're on this side.
Yeah, I didn't realize
there's a camera just in case, just for Spotify.
you have
Spotify,
to disclose that.
Sure, Spotify. Oh yeah, any videos or resemblance or images of you are now mine by law. That you just lost all your copyrights. Fantastic. Just from walking in the door, you lost your copyrights. Fantastic. So our first guest, you can see there, right there, we'll introduce you to our patriarch, Mr. Bill. Mr. Bill, this was actually your idea. This is a great idea.
Yes,
Bill?
sir.
Awesome. Yeah, I talked to Bill and I was like, "Hey, dude, I got it. It's time for you to be on my show. It's time for you to be on the podcast." And the first thing Bill said, that's the kind of Bill, the kind of guy Bill is. He's like, "I want everybody. I want to bring everybody on the show. Have everybody come on the show." So
we're all brothers here.
That's awesome, man.
All right.
That's awesome. Awesome. Great idea, Bill. Thank you so much.
Got it.
Thanks for coming. My second guest is Mike number one, Gordo's Catering. He does mostly Saturdays and Sundays, a lot of weddings and a lot of cool stuff like that, right? Right, Mike?
Yeah, a lot of pop-ups.
A lot of pop-ups?
Yeah.
Nice. That's crazy. Busy, right?
All the time.
Blowing up. I put this guy on. I said one time on a story that Gordo's was going to be here. My phone was blowing up like crazy all night long. This guy's a famous barbecue guy, Mr. Gordo's from Gordo's Barbecue.
Man.
Welcome to the show, my friend.
Got a lot of hits, huh?
I got hits, man. I'm gonna start hanging. I'm gonna tag you in all my posts, even if it's about Cheerios or pizza. I'm just gonna tag you in all my posts. I'm gonna get famous. It's gonna be awesome.
All right, that's cool, man.
My second mic, Vinegar and Smoke. Mike, you have some amazing, unique flavors on the barbecue side. You have a whole different side to talk about here. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me back, man. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun last time. Talked for way longer than I thought we would and had a great time.
Oh, excuse me. That's a rookie mistake right there, huh?
Yeah.
Mike's been on the radio, by the way. He's my mentor as far as radio is concerned. He tells me, like, stop drinking before you're about to talk, stuff like that.
Or keep drinking if you want great comedy.
There you go. A lot of crazy. So Mike's been on the show before. We talked a lot about his experience with barbecue, his experience with being on the radio, his experience with Texas as well as California barbecue, different styles. So that was an awesome show. If you want to catch that, go on to the podcast. You can listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. We were going to have Oso Barbecue. He's not here. He had to work last minute. We were going to have Fat Perps. A lot of the guys that basically Bill recommended, killer barbecue guys from Whittier, mostly local guys from this area. And it's because there's a lot of things happening in this area. A lot of new barbecue. Did you guys see, Bill, was it always like this? Was it always like a lot of barbecue in this area?
Not really. I started with 2003. I started out doing tacos, but I would do them TJ style, off the grill with the mesquite wood.
Oh, dang.
And I would do it back then. I was charging asada and chicken with rice and beans, guacamole. It was $8 a person. They would laugh at me. You're too expensive. You're too expensive. Now, I kind of dropped out of all that, went straight to barbecue. Got a good smoker from my mentor, Chris Rock. He was not the comedian.
Chris Rock, the comedian, he barbecues.
Oh, man.
That's fantastic.
Don't talk about my wife.
Are we getting slapped right here? Oh,
Not
God.
yet, not yet.
I don't want to get slapped. Come on.
Yeah, he was with Rancho Rock Barbecue.
Oh,
He's since retired, so
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock.
So he'll slap you with a tomahawk.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking for the tomahawk right now.
Where's the tomahawk?
Yeah, he taught me a lot of things and showed me the business. Because back then it was just catering. There was no real pop-up stuff or anything like that.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, so this whole pop-up thing, it's been really, really good for a lot of small businesses. I think that's where me and my wife, of course, loves to support small business. So do I. So we go out and we love to eat, and pretty much everywhere we go, food runs into us. So we were at the VFW thing the other day, and we ran into Mike, we ran into Bill. I mean, like I said, food just runs into me. Literally, Mike slapped me in the face with his pulled pork, like it was right there in front of me. It was like it was calling me. I went right to his booth, and then Fat Perps, of course, gave me a sandwich. So I ate some Fat Perps sandwich. And then I get over to Bill's spot and he gives me like a full on dinosaur beef rib, dino rib.
Yeah, that was good.
And some brisket and some like macaroni salad and some freaking beans, incredible cowboy beans that he makes.
Yeah.
I'm in love with those beans. And then my wife's like, dude, now you got to go try Oso. I'm like, I just ate like I went to 4 booths. I couldn't eat. I was like, I can't. I felt so bad because he's right there. He's right there. I couldn't even go have any more because by the time I went through all you guys, I had so much. It was crazy. But these pop-ups are incredible. Have they been pretty good for you guys? What do you guys think about the pop-ups?
I mean, overall, yeah, for the most part, just as long as people know that the pop-up is happening is really kind of the thing, because there's a lot of pop-ups that rely on just the foot traffic that's going on. For example, the first, when I started, and it was just at the very beginning of the pandemic, and the first thing that we did, I think I told you, was in Huntington Beach. And the one thing that the company did good, there's a pizza place called Stoney's Pizza down in Huntington Beach, and they own this giant parking lot that was not being used for anything. It's okay, well, we're going to start doing pop-ups during COVID. And the city canceled it ultimately. But during that time, though, right? It's like, oh, no. And it was the neighborhood across the bay that was like, no, we don't like seeing that.
Yeah.
That was
always
on Long Beach?
No, it was in Huntington Beach.
Oh, Huntington Beach.
A little more swanky.
Yeah.
So, but the thing was the traffic, though, the foot traffic, because people are walking to the beach and they see, oh, there's food. They smell food. They're going to go buy it. They're going to be like, oh, shit, I'm interested in what's going on here, right?
Yeah.
And then in contrast is I did a market in LA a couple of weeks ago, and it was a nice little market. It was a good setup, but there was no foot traffic. It was 100% a destination little market, which is cool too. But none of the vendors really had a specifically big draw. They had the folks who were there for them. We sold some food. It was okay. But that's the big thing about the pop-ups. So I think that continues like from the beginning through now, right? If people know it's happening and it's got either a musical guest who's going to bring a crowd or help attract a crowd, or there's one or two vendors who have a type of following that is going to boon for that kind of thing, right? I think so. Yeah, as long as people know it's happening.
Oh, yeah,
that's right. So if people are there, that's the thing, is people got to eat. So if there are people at the market, then it's great.
Right. So that's the missing equation, is how do you bring people to the actual show? Like somebody has to actually market it correctly to get people there, right?
No, yeah. Because if you don't promote, they're not going to come. Nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
So, but like for instance, for me, it's like I go on my page and I just promote if I'm going to do a pop-up, but then I go on the chat room where everybody's going to attend that pop-up.
Like you mean like the actual pop-up guy, the promoter, right?
Yeah.
You go to his thing and it's like all cheesy. Whoa, I didn't say that.
Wait.
That's a Susan. No, go ahead, continue.
No, but it is.
I'm putting words in your mouth.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. They're not going to want me to come to their pop-ups now, you see? They're going to
messing it up for you.
No, but it
I'm gonna
is
be a fan
that
as well.
no, all the vendors that are going to be there, like the when they sell merch and all that, I go on their page and they're not promoting, and I'm just the one
Oh.
24/7 promote, and I can't do it on my own, you know. So most of the time they
Right.
come because I invite, you know, I'll do a come down, get a 2-for-1 plate, and they'll come, and then I'll tell them, hey, go check out the venue, and they'll go, and that's why they like to piggyback off most of them, and that's not. And then we say to ourselves, no, well, that's not even right.
Right.
Yeah,
That's the
just-
second time I heard that. When I had Cheesecake Man on the show, he said the same thing, that a lot of times he'd be like, yeah, I used to like the pop-ups a lot, but then I sort of got a pattern where they were like, they were just basically inviting me to get people there.
Exactly.
Does that happens to you a lot?
Yeah. That's
Crazy.
what happens.
They use you, basically, right? They use you to get to other.
They use you to get to the,
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is they're going to somebody's going to draw the crowd, and they don't want to pay the advertising fee. So they're going to get somebody who's going to draw a crowd, and you know, whatever. If it works for everybody, that works for everybody. You know, it's kind of like not a great, you know, business ethic. But if it works, if it's mutually beneficial across the board,
Yeah.
if the person who's drawing the crowd also gets their payout at the end of the day, and the market gets more business for all the vendors, that's great. I will tell you a story without using specific vendor names about
Yes, please.
a situation that did not work out the way this should have.
Okay.
I did a recurring market on Sundays for several months, and there was a large food vendor who had a large crowd every week, to the point where people would be like, oh, were you at the blank food market? And they named the name of that company, not the name of the actual market. It's like, it's not,
wow.
you know what I mean? It's like, it's not sponsored by them. It's not put on by them. It's not their market, but they just draw a large crowd. And, you know, and to the point where like, it just seemed like large crowd. We regularly had people, and then their food took 20, 30, 40 minutes to come out of their booth. So people were just milling around in front of our booths so people wouldn't walk up, because it's like, oh, there's people standing there. So it's just bad. So, you know what I mean?
So it covered your booth completely, where people weren't even getting stuff from you.
I would get mad and tell them, hey, you guys got to move. Like, folks, can we, like, seriously, not
You
like
never
a mean
told
way.
you never
Yeah,
told them,
that's what
like,
I
just
do,
turn
man.
around. I have food too.
Oh, we did. I'm like, hey, I can get you 2 plates in the time you'll be waiting for that food, and I guarantee you'll like it.
Yeah.
But besides the point, but see, exactly. So in that case, it was not really beneficial for everyone. It was beneficial for that one company to have a home every week,
Yeah.
and for the promoter to collect the fee from all those vendors.
Thank you. Exactly.
Yeah.
You're right.
It
You're
could be
absolutely
good for the one guy.
Correct.
And he's like, dope, I got this home place where I can go cook, and I guarantee everybody's going to go to me. So it could work out for the one person. It's a great business model for the promoter, because he isn't going to do anything. He just calls one of you guys and freaking calls Mike, and Mike promotes the hell of it.
Exactly.
But it's not right, because I remember when we were playing music, Mike's been in the music industry as well. When we played with bands, like the promoter would do more work. Like the promoter would promote all the bands, and there would be like flyers when they still printed on paper back in my day. And you know, they put it on MySpace back in my day, and people would come because the promoter
day
pushed
too.
the hell out of it. And Bill's day, and Bill actually, it was the post office.
Yeah.
Don't express.
That's good.
But yeah, the promoter did all the work. So it's interesting the way these pop-ups work. They're great. They're fun. Don't get me wrong. There's no negativity about them. Guys do a fantastic job. But yeah, sometimes it gets really weird where the artist or the cook is the one promoting the whole show.
Exactly.
Some of the pop-ups, like more, some of the more recent ones I've noticed, like when you go to the application on the Linktree or whatever, a lot of them have like, you're agreeing that you will, you know, post X number of posts that you will promote X number of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
a
get
lot
that
of them-
specific.
yeah, because then they look and then it comes to the day of the market, like, cool, you didn't do any of this shit that you agreed to.
Oh, they'll come to you and they'll
I've never had that happen because I do what I'm supposed to. But
Yeah, me too. That makes sense.
you guys, people at this table don't have that problem. But
No.
I'm sure people.
well, that problem exists because it's in the rules, right? It's in the quote unquote requirements.
The contract that you signed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like they could theoretically say, "No, you can't come do your pop-up today, and I'm still going to keep your fee because you didn't do the promotion you said you would." Right? So,
Oh dang! So it gets like that.
and just to make it fair, because like for example, maybe this person has 20,000 people they're going to reach with a post, and this other company has 1,000 people they're going to reach with a post. At least the 1,000 people is better than no people. So they might think like, well, what do I need to bother for? Because this other big company is going to be doing it. You know what I mean? That's to kind of alleviate that problem with the other company to feel like they're doing all of the promotion, all the work, right? So
some people are just doing the lazy, like, oh, I don't have to promote. I don't know why you would do that though. Like if you have a business, you would want people to come buy your clay pots or whatever you do. Like you would want to promote your business. Do you think there's certain businesses like that are kind of more of like a hobbyist type situation instead of like a true business, like maybe certain, I mean, obviously you guys love what you do. It's your passion. It's different. It's a passion. It's business. You love cooking, but there's also maybe like the trinket guy who sells like freaking, I just put these 2 wires into this braid and now I make it's a bracelet. You buy it, it's $2.
$2.
It's $2. It's a bracelet. And are you breaking my lights, mother?
Listen, I'm too tall.
Dancing with the light right there.
So it's kind of I bet those guys have a lot of problems, right? Like the trinket guys.
Yeah. I mean, I think you guys would probably agree. Like, if you were to like make a list of the top selling vendors at any event, you're gonna have a couple of food guys up here, and you're gonna have all the dudes who made all the stuff, like the tie-dye shirts and the bracelets and stuff, gonna be down here.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah,
you're actually right. Yeah, and and another thing too, when I've been to these pop-ups, they charge anywhere between 120, 150, $75
for the booth.
For the booth.
Okay, and
it's kind of, to me, it's the person that is organizing the event. Sometimes they collect the money. So, and supposedly they donate it, either if it's at a church or
that's cool.
They do it with certain ones that I've been to. But my thing is, I look around and every merchant, they're selling their, all the vendors, they're selling their merchandise, shirts, like you was saying, tie dyes and all that. And if they don't make a sale, they're in the whole $50, $200.
Damn.
Yeah.
So I'm like, for us, the food industry that we go to the pop-ups, we do good because the vendors there buy food from me or people that are selling food. So the food sells.
Right.
But the people that don't even make one sell, they don't even sell anything. And it's just, they sell these cups and
it's
one cup's $20, and it's like, I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
But
it's, I mean, there's 2 sides to that. I like it because you have these people that are trying out a new business, for example. Yeah. They're trying out their business. And if it's like the dopest bracelet that nobody's ever seen before, the market's going to tell you whether that's a good product or not. So when you get there and you show up and all the freaking bracelets on your table sell out like crazy, you've got something.
Yeah.
But if you lose, like you said, $200, $75, then it's time to like adjust or switch over to something new, right?
But the other half of that is, I could have the coolest bracelet that's ever existed, but if there's no one at that market to see it and buy it, then it does not matter.
A lot of those aren't promoted well, right?
No,
they're just not promoted well.
So
you get stuck.
Yeah.
So then in that case, you would all be out. The food guys wouldn't sell. The trinket guys wouldn't sell.
No,
except for Mike, because he always does well.
No,
Gordo does have look at the smile on his face. He's good.
He's 100% right. I will tell you, the slowest market I've ever been at, I still made my money back because every vendor needed to eat and they still bought food for us.
So that's another great thing about it. And Bill is a good example of this. Like, the coolest thing that I ever saw with barbecue was the day I went to that VFW. Everybody was working together. Everybody was communicative. All the food vendors were talking to each other. Everybody was helpful. Has it always been like that, Bill? Or
no, like when I started, there was no real pop-up markets and stuff like that. There was farmers markets, which you had to be, the health department had a big hand in that.
Oh, wow.
You had to have a health permit. I mean, I don't know what happened now, but everyone's selling in the street and, you see all that.
I see a lot of that.
Because they used to, I used to have my health permit before the pandemic and all that, but all the business is gone. So.
Well, I like that. I don't want the government being involved in everything and trying to nitpick, and that's another fee for people to lose money on. Yeah. So that's great that they don't do that a lot around here. You want to be safe, of course. Everybody should be clean, but when you start getting all these government agencies in their hands and everything, the money's gone. The people don't get the money.
I was in Salt Lake City with Christy recently for something, and the restaurants there are not the same as they are here. Like, there was a bunch of food trucks, and looking inside them, it's like, okay, obviously the requirements here are easier there. Here being Salt Lake City, California is harder. It's more strict. But up in here, so I operate mostly in Orange County, and I live in Orange County. And in Orange County, it's pass fail. You either pass certification or you fail. You don't get a letter grade. But I've eaten a lot in LA. I go to LA a lot, and I've eaten from like a D restaurant. And I'll tell you.
Wait a minute. You knew it was a D going in? Yeah. You saw the sign.
Yes.
So they have those signs for us. They're made for us.
But did you know that you can get a lower letter grade because you have a piece of equipment that you can't get a piece of rust off that has no impact on your food?
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to take that chance, but you're a great man.
But what I'm saying, though, is like, knowing that if it were another place, it would have just been pass, and you would have never known it was.
Wow. So it doesn't work. So then the whole rating system is whack.
Kind of irrelevant. It's really to punish like uncleanliness. Like if you have insects and stuff, obviously that's a problem. But like certain things, again, like if you have a deep frying basket that the part that holds the thing that never touches anything is a little rusty, and it doesn't.
Down.
Yeah.
You get marked out for that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? So
It's crazy.
Or even
So
if you don't
it can be
take out, even if you leave a trash bag the day they come, it's a
Yeah.
DF.
Damn, all the way down to
I've
death.
seen it.
DNF?
Yeah, I've seen it.
So getting
Damn,
But
it's
the
hard
food
out there.
could be like amazing, top notch, and then
Clean.
Javier forgot to throw out the trash, and the inspector came and go, "What is
Yeah.
that over there?" And there's flies.
Damn.
That's it, it's over.
It's that strict.
Is that strict?
Wow.
So going back to what you were saying about like, don't get the government involved in my business, right? It should be
I love
my
that.
choice. Like I should be able to look and say, okay, I think I trust that. And if it makes me sick, that's my
Yeah.
fault. I chose to eat there.
That's a great point. Why? Right. Well, I mean, as long as the only argument would be, well, I can't see back there. What do you say to that?
Just say, hey, can I come see your kitchen? If they say no, say, I'm out.
That's good. See, that's where it should be. Instead of the government, like you should actually be able to go in the back kitchen like Subway.
It's your
Yeah.
choice.
Oh, yeah.
You see it
Right?
being
You get to
done.
see everything.
Just say, hey, I'm making the choice to eat at this establishment. So that means I believe that it's good enough for me right now.
That's a good point. That's especially if it's not even working. Like if A, B, C, and D don't even really mean anything, it scares the hell out of me. When I was in Hollywood one time, and I don't know what I was thinking. I think the time I was still drinking. So I saw a C on this big Papa's Pizza. So they had this great ad. I mean, not an ad, but they had the poster, and there was this giant pizza. It was like giant pieces. Like each piece was going to be big. If you bought this pizza, each piece you knew it was going to be big. So I saw this big old poster. I'm like, I'm going to go eat that pizza. And I see the C, and I see the poster, and I see the C, and I see the poster. But my hunger, my food greed, it overwhelmed me that I didn't even pay attention to the D, and I went for it, and I paid the ultimate price. So I shouldn't have done that. So in that case, it did work. But yeah, like you said, sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah, but again, did you die or did you just feel just some discomfort because you ate some bad pizza?
That's a good thing. So generally what happens to me as a foodie, because I have foodie belly. I don't know if you guys know what that is. Foodie belly is when you always eat at all the different restaurants, and the littlest thing can screw you over.
It's over.
Because of years of eating food. The food hoodie will know exactly what I'm talking about. He listens to my show. Yeah, if something's like a tiniest bit of dirty, so what happens is, and I won't get too graphic, but the next morning's a bad thing.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah,
on that subject. Mike knows what I'm talking about.
I'm good, man.
But let's go back to, you said something earlier, Mike, about when they were doing the pop-up in Huntington Beach, some of the bougie were like, I don't want to see that. This happens a lot. So recently, I heard a story about a festival. There was a festival happening, and they shut down the whole street for the festival. And, the festival, when a small town has a festival, generally it's about the city, you have two sides, because you have stores all along the same street. You got restaurants around the same street. You got people that make T-shirts, bracelets, whatever store they have that's there every single day in that city. And some of them are like, cool, if we have this festival and we have all these booths coming down the street, we'll have more foot traffic, right? That's the idea. Well, we'll have more foot traffic. People will go into our stores. People will buy more trinkets. People will buy more cards. People will buy more T-shirts. This is a good thing for the city. That's one side. The other side is like, hell no, we don't need those pop-ups on our street. They're going to sell the same kind of food that I make, and then they're going to, ruin my business. What do you guys think about that? We'll start here and go around.
Yeah, honestly, like I have run into both of those situations where we did a pop-up at a spot and there was a restaurant. So it got complicated because the property was owned by somebody who didn't really read through their lease properly before they tried to set it up.
Uh-oh.
And there was a non-compete essentially where you couldn't sell food that overlapped with the restaurants that were also on the property.
Mm-hmm.
And so that ended up being a problem for a couple of vendors. And then the Huntington Beach one it was private property. It was a private lot. And the way they ultimately were able to get it shut down is because it wasn't quote unquote zoned for food service, even though it could have been. But it was just the people who were across the bay and they didn't like seeing it on, Saturdays. But
they were business owners or they were the regular people.
The one in Huntington Beach they were the business owners. So basically it was an auxiliary parking lot for their restaurant that was like overflow parking that was down the street and around the corner, kind of off PCH. And it probably held 45 cars. It was big enough for 2 or 3 food trucks and about 4 other little booths. So not giant, but good enough for a little community thing to happen every a couple of days. And that's ultimately they got shut down because they said it was not zoned for that. And it was really because the people who were across the bay didn't want to see it. They were saying, "Oh, you're leaving trash, you're leaving all this stuff." But right there is on that corner is the fire department for Huntington Beach for that area. And the firefighters, every time we popped up, they were there getting food, hanging out. They, obviously if it was a hazard or something, they would have been like, "Hey, you guys can't do this." They were bummed when they found out we had to close down.
They're usually the ones that come to tell you got to shut down.
That's what I'm saying. So you would think like they're here hanging out, like, "Oh, cool." We thought it was an inn. We're like, "Oh yeah, the firefighter here every week. We're good."
It's all fun and games till the mayor comes by. Tells me, "Hey, get those guys out of here."
So also, realistically, the other thing, I can't really leave out of the story is that it could have been a firehouse because the way to get in and out was very small. Like it could only fit one car both ways. So if there was some kind of fire or something for everyone to evacuate, it was not a great situation. But that's a kind of a big what if, right? But you have to, I guess, err on the side of caution.
Yeah. So the city was right at that point. Good job, city.
I guess.
Good job, city. What about you, Bill? What do you think?
Well, I don't know if you guys have heard that one. There was a food truck. There was a guy selling tacos in Stater Brothers, right there on Mulberry.
Oh, the guy with
the eating truck. Yeah, the eating truck. That guy. The fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
So these guys are fighting each other now, which is sad to see. I don't want to see that. Just for spaces in the street now.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why the pop-up markets are kind of good. So you have reserved spots but there's guys that all over Whittier. If you look around, I don't know if you've been around, I'm sure you have.
No, yeah. Now the taco places are every corner. Every corner, more than the corner in the middle of the block down the way. Corner's taken. Let's go down the middle of the block. Let's take the other corner. It's all over the place.
What happened is the reason you're seeing more is LA recently changed a lot in the way you can get a cottage industry permit, making it easier to cook food at your house and sell it in public. Because in I operate in Orange County, there are a bunch of SOBs about this kind of stuff. Yeah. But in LA County, for example, right here, I can get a cottage industry permit and just set up my smoker in the front with the tent and just sell whatever I want out of my house.
Nice.
With very minimal processing. It's a couple papers that you have to know what you're going to cook and look at the equipment you're going to use, and that's basically it. In LA, you have to have a commissary kitchen. You have to.
Oh, so here you don't need a commissary kitchen.
No, it's you get a cottage industry permit. And you basically cook all your food at home and sell it at your house.
Whoa.
Which you simply cannot do in Orange County. And so it's a big old FU to people who want to form a small food business where they have to pay external fees for a kitchen space and for licensing. Oh, it's a pain.
So you think people are obviously then, because I know the answer to this question, there are people from other cities coming into our city to sell.
Oh yeah.
Guaranteed, right?
Oh, yeah, other businesses, no doubt. If I had a family member who I was real close to who lived in LA County, I'd 100% just get my cell phone bill sent there to get proof of residency, and all of a sudden I live in LA County.
Dude, that's exactly it. That's why there's so many.
Yeah,
that's so many.
It's a lot easier to establish a food business in LA County. That's all.
It's a lot, but it's sad to see like with that Azteca guy. I forgot what his name was, but he got the fire extinguisher, sprayed it all over their food, all over their face. And it just messed him up.
You got a lot of backlash.
You got social media now. People saw that video. Yeah. He's not even around anymore, right? No. So people hate that guy. They would never buy anything from him. But Bill, back in the day when there was a competition like that, and like you said, there wasn't very much pop-up, but I'm sure there was competition. Barbecue World, there's always been a nice friendly atmosphere, but there's always some friendly competition.
Sure.
Usually we would compete with our food, right? Your food would be talking.
Back when I started, it was like barbecue competitions. Barbecue brings people together. There was no, like I said, there was no pop-up markets or anything like that. It was all just catering stuff, and that's all I did was I was taught cooking out of your house. It's a no. I'm gonna get in trouble. I would never sell food out of my house, so I was always scared of that. So I ended up getting the permit and doing this and that, and then I just got deep involved in catering. That's it. I wasn't doing. And then I would do breweries. I'm sure you guys have done breweries and all that stuff.
Right.
So where the money's at. I was doing them in San Diego.
Because that's crazy. San Diego?
Because there was no real breweries out here either.
Yeah, there was.
Noble wasn't here yet. All the, Green Cheek wasn't around.
Anaheim had a bunch of breweries popping up. And that was just before COVID.
Yeah.
Like
I was doing this back in 2012.
2012?
2011. Yeah. I would go to San Diego. I wouldn't make any money.
Yeah, at that time they didn't have no breweries around here.
No,
no way.
So there was nowhere for me to have.
You had to go to San Diego
because there was no street pop-ups or anything like that. So
wow,
I would just go for fun, really. And then I kind of got a little niche out there, and I got a lot of catering out there too.
Yeah. By the way, Bill will travel. Grillfellas.com.
Yeah.
Cool.
Understood.
Bill will go anywhere.
Their weddings, Bill will be there
everywhere.
Arizona, quinceañeras, divorciados, everything.
The money's right.
Yeah. Money talks, right?
Bill will travel. Yeah. What do you think about the competition there with the city as well as the established business as opposed to the pop-up? Is there this kind of like competitive thing like this? They don't. Some people don't want it. Some people do. What are your thoughts, Mike?
Well, actually, some people do, and some don't. You're gonna have those haters all the time, and then you have the Karens coming and putting finger on you and saying, "Oh, he doesn't have a permit. He didn't wear gloves," and all this type of stuff. I've really never had a problem like that. The only problem I had was with the sheriff's department because I had a lot of foot traffic where I live in Whittier.
Oh, damn!
And because I was doing pre-orders. So people thought I was selling drugs out of the house or something because there was a lot of cars coming up
because you live in like my old neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of like other businesses that go around in that area.
Yeah. So
those businesses.
I didn't even know that's when I first started. And my uncle was like, well, let's just try it out, see what happens. And so I started trying it out and with pre-orders, I would sell about 100 plates on a Saturday.
Damn, that's good.
So maybe, $15 plates. $20 plates, and we just do pre-orders and the sheriff showed up. I was coming out with like 6 bags and they're like, bags of cocaine, man, put your hands up. I was like, what is it? Whoa, hold on.
They thought it was bags of cocaine.
Yeah, funny. And I was like, what do you got in there? I said, I just barbecue food. And he said, what? And then they're like, open it up. I said, no, man, you open it up, man. And then they're like, oh, it is food. I go, would you like a plate?
That would have been awesome if you were like on Cops. Like when it was on Channel 11 and they open up the bag and they think it's Coke. It was all chicken.
Like,
they got some chicken.
Yeah, and it was 2 brothers. And they said, oh, we love barbecue. I said, would you help me, hook you up with some plates? And ever since then, they drive around and they're like, how's everything? Everything's good, man. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Oh.
Yeah, but I've never really had like, if I go to a pop-up or anything like that, because the pop-ups that I go to, it's only a one barbecue guy, one taco guy.
Oh, they segregate.
Yeah,
like
it has because I won't do it because the last pop-up that I had, it was like in Lakewood and Bill went to it. Right. Yeah, and Bill was
you
like,
saw Bill and you were like, you were like, get out of here, Bill. What are you doing here?
Yeah,
I came to eat.
Yeah, he came.
Oh, I thought you were working. I thought you saw him saying, Bill saying, like, hey, bro,
what's up, man?
Hey, I'm trying to. This is my situation right here.
I actually invited him, and he showed up out of nowhere. I was like, oh, what's up, man? He's all, man, what's up with all these food vendors? And the person that was organizing it she said it was only 5 food vendors.
Oh, damn.
And it was like 10. Yeah. And I was like, holy crap, what's all this shit? Well, I was already in. So, it's $100 for the spot. I said, well, at least, I got to make some money. But it turned out pretty good because they had a skewer guy there. And the skewers are pretty good, but he had a sign that said barbecue. So all my people, when they showed up, they're like, hey, man, this is not Mike. Who the hell is this guy? So they looked for the Flaming Bull and they would come. But you know what? There was other vendors there. And because I brought my crowd. And they, like you were saying, they started hating on me because I had a line of people.
Well, because you're the barbecue rock star, bro. So you bring the groupies, you bring like the whole band. You like everything's breaking out. Like there's so many people. Like things are breaking. Like you're knocking things over. It's like a concert when you do it, huh?
So it's crazy though because they were coming and everything, and to top it off, that's when I made that sandwich. And right across from me, there was a birria guy selling tacos and everything. Damn. And that's all he sold was birria. So after that, a couple of weeks later, the person asked me, hey, you want to come to a lowrider show pop-up? And I said, yeah, for sure. I'm thinking a lot of people are going to be there. Yep. So I went and I think actually it was dead, because she had her favorites, her loyal, vendors, food vendors. And that birria guy ended up doing a sandwich. Birria sandwich.
So he copied
he copied.
Tell him about your sandwiches. There's a picture on this on Instagram. It's got sausage in there. It's got, was it pulled pork or what is it?
Pulled pork and coleslaw. It's called the Big Bull.
The Big Bull sandwich.
The Big Bull pulled pork sandwich. That's what it's
called.
Dude,
that thing looks amazing.
And that's people, they love it. As soon as it's because I make a coleslaw, it's creamy.
Ooh.
And it's crunchy at the same time because you don't want a straw when you eat coleslaw. You start slurping.
You don't want to drink your coleslaw? Is that
you want to drink your coleslaw. So,
dude, I love coleslaw too.
Yeah. So I actually converted people that don't like coleslaw.
Most people don't like. A lot of people don't like coleslaw. I love it. I love
coleslaw. And my uncle loves coleslaw, and he's like, "Oh, you got to make me some more coleslaw on the side for me."
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but other than that, if you have a lot of food vendors at a pop up, chances are you'll do good, but at the same time, you got to compete with other people there as well.
So there's competition within, besides the restaurants and everybody hating on each other, the restaurant outside. You're talking about if you have too many food vendors and won't pop up, you're going to lose sales, right?
Yeah, you are.
No matter what, because the number, it just makes sense. The equations are there. Like there's so many food places to choose from, like you're going to lose some market share.
Exactly. And if your spot, your tent is way at the back, and the entrance is in the front, guess what? By the time they get to you, they already made it. They already decided what they're going to eat.
So you got lucky, Mike, when I walked right past everybody and went straight to the back and got you.
Yeah, I see. That's what I'm talking
because I have ADHD and I just kind of I went there. The kids didn't even know where I was.
Also,
what were you going to say, Mike?
Also, when I started, the big thing was like softball tournaments.
Oh.
I would get calls for softball tournaments.
Yeah.
And I learned early on, I would get there and there would be $1 taco man there. And he would undercut me every time.
Oh, she's doing volume.
Yeah. So after a while, I go, look, is a taco man going to be there? Well, yeah. Well, I can't beat him on price.
Yeah, no way. Everybody's going to go for $1 taco.
$2 a pound. Now it's it's $10 a pound. Whatever.
Oh, now you guys are fine dining. You guys realize that, right? You guys are no longer the barbecue sandwich. You guys are fine dining.
Oh yeah.
You know what I don't understand about the whole thing? I 100% understand that there's too many food vendors.
Yeah.
You're not trying to be a dick, but at the same time, at the same time,
you're trying to be nice.
You're trying to, you're trying to do your thing. So, quick story, and then I'm going to get to my point. I love to give samples of our food. Like that's sometimes my wife hates to stop.
That hooked me.
But I do kind of weird flavors sometimes that need explanation. So if you just see it, you're like, but taste it, right? You're gonna just put this in your mouth and you're gonna like it. So we started giving samples at this pop-up. And lo and behold, other vendors all of a sudden are out front. We had this lady.
It's happened to me too.
You started that?
I didn't start it.
Thank God you did, because now I get free food from all you guys.
Oh,
so
man.
We had a lady from one of the other freaking booths giving samples to people in line waiting to order from us.
Right in front of your booth?
Like, how scummy is that?
That's cutthroat.
So it's like,
dang.
If they're in front of your booth, give them a sample, but don't walk up to other people's booths and try to literally poach their customers in the middle of them choosing other food. Like, that's kind of whack.
Wow. She's bringing over the cheese and stuff like that. Oh, yeah. You're trying to sell attractive.
So, people are terrible sometimes. But the point is, I don't feel the need to compete in that way because everyone's got to eat 3 times a day. And no matter how much you like something, I'm not going to eat the same thing every day for a year or every time. You know what I mean?
Well, I was going to say there's barbecue guys there. There's the nacho guy. There's the smash burger guy. And, the customer is going to make the choice. So it depends on multiple things. It could be they're in the mood for a burger that day. They're in a mood for a pulled pork sandwich. Maybe they're in the mood for freaking cotton candy. And that's it. So there's so many different aspects to this thing.
Yeah. People get mad though. It's like, I'm not going to go out of my way to try to hurt your sales because I'm salty that people aren't buying my food, because everyone's got to eat. So if I just didn't come up with the right dish today, or I didn't have the right they weren't into it, then that's not anyone else's fault. That's not the other vendor's fault, obviously, right? That's not the customer's fault, of course. If anyone's fault, it's going to be the person who brought the wrong food to the event or whatever. But, you know, I just understand being mad at the other vendors and being like so salty with other vendors, unless they're being like, you know, doing like trying to put your customers.
Unless they're bringing the cheese to your line.
Yeah, actively.
You can't bring the cheese to the meat line, by the way. Just for the shady people out there.
Only in kosher. Only if kosher.
But you guys have a following anyway. You know, all your guys show up. Like you say, Mike's will be here.
They all show up.
All my guys are coming.
You know, another thing too that I've noticed is at the pop-ups, a lot of people take pictures of their food, and the food vendors that are selling, they put pictures of their food, and the customer comes and looks at it. Oh yeah, it looks great. But like I tell them, you know, I just pull out a little rib and I give it to them because they'll come up to me and scratch their head. How much is the plate? $15. Because Gordo's Barbecue is the one that came up with the $15 rib plate. And everybody's like, oh man, $15? I'm like, yeah, here, try it. They try it and they're like, I'll take 4 plates.
They weren't going to get one. And
they'll take 4 plates. Wow. And they'll come with a loaded potato from another vendor. And it's like, how much did you pay for that? $20. I said, $20? When you get a whole food plate with me, you get rib, sausage, and a side for $15. And then like, I'm gonna take this back. I said, "Oh, brother, you already messed up. You can't take it back."
He's gonna take it back. I want a refund on the potato.
I was like, "Oh wow, brother, you can't take it back."
Gonna leave the spoon in there and get it back.
Yeah, he was pissed off. I go, man. So you know,
but that's crazy. So there is it's good. It's good. Competition could be good. A lot of times it's good in business because it shows the other talents of the other vendors. It pushes you to possibly take something to the next level. If you're working on a new dish or working on a new piece, the crazy sandwich that you created, something probably drew you to make that, right? What drew you to make that freaking sandwich? That's incredible.
Oh, wow. It's actually a crazy story. One of the customers, I don't want to say his name because he's going to want to be like, I took credit for it.
Oh, he's a signature sandwich.
Yeah, I'm going to get free sandwich tomorrow. Time. Yeah. Well, because I used to do just a regular, pulled pork sandwich with the coleslaw and just a bun. And then he says, why don't you try a link in there? And I said, we should try a link. And when I was building it, I cut the sausage in half. It's a spicy sausage. Yeah. And then I curved it and it looked like horns. So my logo is a bull. Damn. So that's and right there and then I said, I'm going to call it, the big bull. When people come, up to me, they're like, oh, I'll take a pulled pork sandwich. I go, you want the regular pulled pork or you want the big bull? And they're like, what's the big bull?
Everybody's going to want the big bull.
Yeah, they want the big bull. Yeah. So matter of fact, now that we're talking about this last past week at the Lakewood Papa, this guy was an Uber driver. He drove by and he seen my canopy and it said, barbecue, Gordo's Barbecue. And he came back. He says, hey, let me get what you got today? And I said, pulled pork sandwich. You want the big bull? He said, oh yeah, I'll try it. So he said, oh man, let me get some of that. You want spicy or regular barbecue sauce? I'll take the spicy one. He says, okay. Oh man, it's big. And I said, it's $10, man. He goes, $10. And I said, yeah, man, we're just, doing an event for the church.
Well, it's $10 for a hamburger at Carl's Jr. So nobody should be surprised.
Yeah, so
pretty much all screwed.
Yeah. So then after that, he took off. He walked to the back. I guess he had parked in the back. Thought he was gone. About a half hour, he came back, and he comes up to me. He goes, "Yeah, I gotta tell you, man, this sandwich was the all-time favorite." And he goes, "And you know that Bloodsoul's Barbecue, or was it Bloodsoul's?"
Oh, Bloodsoul's, yeah. Oh, goes, dude, that guy's huge.
Yeah, he told me. He goes, "I'm that's my uncle." He goes,
no way.
Yeah, he goes, that's my uncle. I'm his nephew. And let me tell you, he goes, I'm not going to put down my uncle, but, this sandwich, I'll beat my uncle's pulled pork. I said, wow, brother, is that right? I took a picture with him and everything. So, for proof.
By the way, Kevin, the Uber guy said that. We didn't say that. So, Kevin, if you want to come on my show at any time you want, you're welcome. I love your barbecue, Kevin.
Yes, that's what he said. Yeah,
that's a big compliment.
Yeah, and Kevin, I was like, wow, so because I've been to his restaurant and it's good.
It's
good food.
He's a legend of barbecue.
Yeah, he is.
He was on the Netflix special for that barbecue thing.
And I told him, man, I don't want your uncle coming looking for me, man, because he's a legend, bro.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean? So he was good.
That's crazy. Talk about let's shift gears here. Now that we're talking about guys like Kevin Bloodsoul, let's talk about traditional barbecue. If there's talk to me, Bill, is there a traditional barbecue versus a new barbecue, or is it just all one barbecue? Talk to me, Bill.
Well, it
you've been doing it for a while.
Well, what style you want. I mean, I adopted the Santa Maria style, obviously.
Santa Maria style.
And then Carolina pulled pork, as all you guys do the same thing. You know, Texas brisket, salt and pepper brisket. It's all regional. You know, it's what you want to. Everyone has their own spin on our different barbecues. So I like the Santa Maria style. I like to blend different stuff, like Tex-Mex kind of stuff. Just depends on what I'm doing. So
you're like a Santa Maria barbecue,
Santa Maria
Carolina pulled pork.
That's what I gravitate towards.
What about you, Mr. Gordo?
I just go with the Texas style, just salt,
Texas
pepper,
style. Yep.
you know,
basic
stuff. You know, the thing with me is I use cherry wood. I don't use the oak or the post oak or the, you know, hickory. I'll throw a hickory in there, but you know,
cherry's good.
Cherry, yeah.
That's interesting. Where did that come from? Because if you're going to do Texas barbecue, most people go with the post oak. Where did that come from? Did you switch it up like that? Is that a California thing?
No, actually, you know, I did the oak for a while, and people were saying, you know what, it's just too smoky,
too rough for the Californians.
Yeah. So I said, let me switch it up with some, you know, like I guess fruit type, you know, cherry, apple, and peach.
Nice.
I tried them all, but
just to soften up the smoke.
Yeah, and then I threw a little hickory in there, a little log, and then it blends it pretty good. It's like a sweet, you know, at the same time.
And then so the cherry will soften, and then the hickory will bring it back up a little bit of notch, kind of give you a balance.
Exactly. That's
cool.
Yeah. So because people, we understand. I mean, like, it's crazy because a lot of people out here, they think they know what barbecue is, but the minute that they taste it, they're like, "Oh man, what is this?" You know, and. To be honest with you, you know, this one guy, he said he liked barbecue food and he knew about smoked food, and he bought some ribs off me and he says, "Man, these are not cooked." And I said, "What do you mean?" Yeah. He goes, "Oh, these are not cooked, man." He goes, "They're red, they're pink." And I go, no, man, they're cooked. It's a smoke ring.
Yeah.
No, they're not. I'm gonna throw them in the oven. I said, "Well, you do whatever you want with them." An hour later, he called me. He's like, "They're still red." I go,
"You can smoke one. Yeah. That smoke ring ain't going
anywhere, you know." So just, you know, do what you got to do, man. You know.
That's why I bring up this question, because it seems like we because of the consumer, we kind of and Mike might know about this, having spent time in Texas. We all, as barbecue people, as smokers, we love the smoke flavor. We love the side burner stuff. We love the sick burner stuff. We love doing smoking the way it was traditionally done in the barrel from way back in Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, the old Southern style. We all love that. But when it gets into a business where the consumer starts to taste the food, and your same great example, the consumer doesn't want too much smoke on it. Or here's another thing. Most Texas, a traditional barbecue, there ain't no barbecue sauce.
Nope.
And these consumers, if you try to sell no barbecue sauce in California, you're screwed. You'll be out of business because they love the barbecue sauce.
Mine's always on the side.
Always on the side. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I'll tell you two things. The current, I think most people agree that offset smokers are like this standard for barbecue smoking now. Those have only existed for less than 40 years, right? So that's a essentially, in the grand scheme of things, a brand new technology, correct? Smoking started in like pits in the ground, obviously, right? So I would say that like the definitive way of smoking is whatever you do to achieve the results you want, right? If you're going to do it on a small barbecue and do it offset and you get the same flavor, that's great. I think I talked to you before about like people get caught up on like, oh, barbecue smoking has to be this thing to be done correctly or to be
it's got to be on a Traeger,
right? And it's like
the smoker.
It simply doesn't. You know what I mean? Like it simply doesn't. As long as you're burning some kind of wood and you are enclosing your meat to absorb that smoke, then whatever form you do it in is
the Weber, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Because again, going back to like the thing that everyone points to as like the thing you should use has only existed for a very short amount of time in the history of barbecuing. So like if we're going to be real about what is the traditional way, it's definitely not an offset smoker, right?
Wow, that's awesome. That's some great information, Mike. That's freaking dope. Like I didn't know that. Only 40 years.
Less than 40 years.
Less than 40 years.
So just, sink that in for a second, right? Barrel smokers have existed for much longer than that. So if you're going to talk about something that is, okay, I think I mentioned this last time. People will say that California smoking or barbecuing is like Santa Maria style is what people think of. But I personally think the barrel style smokers, especially in Southern California, are definitely more of a definitive style of smoking. If you're going to say California style. But even that, is subjective because, there's also people who do pit smoking out here, right? Because we have a large Hispanic population who like to burn stuff.
Oh, man, you're telling me about that.
Yeah.
But that's why, so whenever people are like, oh, you're not doing it the traditional way, it's like, cool. Well, what were they doing 100 years ago when that didn't even exist? right? Is that the traditional way? Is what they did 200 years ago the traditional way? Or is it whatever happens to work for you is the traditional way?
So it's kind of progressing is what's happening, right? Because, and also depends, like you said, where you're from. If you're in Argentina, you're putting a cross, a cruz over the fire, goat, or doing that type of stuff over the fires type stuff more. If you're
cooking in the ground, all that stuff.
cooking in the ground in Mexico in a giant hole that always goes way down with adobe bricks and topping it off with a banana leaf and then a clay thing that goes over the top and tortillas all that stuff like that, right?
So I did a brewery pop up a couple weeks ago, and I did pork on a savory waffle with hot honey and habanero barbecue sauce. And one of the guys was like, "What part of the world is this from?" And I'm like, "It's from right here in Southern California because I live here and made it up." What do you know? What part of the world is this from?
Oh man, oh that's crazy.
That's what's crazy. It's there's a lot of elements to this. It's where maybe you grew up, what your experiences are, what you've seen. And then it stayed right there until the adventation of YouTube, because now it's really mixed up because you can be from anywhere and learn how to cook Argentinian style.
Oh, you're right.
You could be from anywhere and learn how to cook Texas style. You can be from anywhere and learn how they cook in Australia. So now it's really getting mixed up, and we're getting all these beautiful flavors all around the room.
So you were talking earlier about like Texas, you don't serve barbecue sauce with it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's true. California, they would be like, "Oh, you don't have sauce, I don't want it." I would say like in California, you would be almost more successful with any type of good fusion that has some kind of sauce. That's why so many Asian fusions are successful, because they are very well known for having a lot of different sauces that are applicable to barbecue, because they are both sweet and savory, create a good glaze, work very well. Gochujang is a great example. It can be used obviously as spicy as something glazed. You can add sweet soy sauce to it to temper it, and it works as a great glaze as well.
Stuff's awesome.
So you know what I mean? Like I think California, if you're gonna say like the best kind of barbecue, would be some kind of like fusion style that has some kind of good sauce that goes with it. Because like if you're gonna brisket notwithstanding, but say for example chicken, right? It's either cooked or it's not. Right.
Yeah, I can't do much with chicken.
Yeah, it's either dry and overcooked or it's cooked well. And that's kind of it, right? And it has to do with how do you flavor? What is the treatment on it, right? So you have some kind of really cool, unique sauce or flavor that goes with it that is going to, in California, be more successful than like, oh, I've got a traditional spice rubbed, whatever that's done in Carolina. That's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like in my experience, that is people gravitate a little bit more towards like, I'm interested in that, especially if you know the community you're going to be in, right? Like if you're going to be in a community that has like a lot of Korean folks, you might want to temper more towards that. If you're going to be doing, something that has a lot of Hispanic folks.
Bust out the kimchi if you're in Koreatown.
Kimchi.
Yeah, cater to your audience. So
smoked salsa, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but you do a lot of that, Mike. You're able to mix flavors. You do a lot of
sometimes more successful than others.
Yeah, but you experiment a lot. That's what's really cool about what you do. You do a lot of Vinegar and Smoke is the name. I mean, you do a lot of you do a lot of vinegar pickles. You do the chimichurri sauce. It's incredible. You're able to get to that level of mixing.
Yeah, I do like to. I basically like I like to cook what I like to eat, and I get bored eating the same kind of thing. That's what I was saying. Like we'll get bored eating the same food all the time, and so I kind of feel like, for example, one of the things I'm going to be making, which is not like a brand new idea, but it's a thing that I am going to enjoy making, is beef burnt ends with a peach habanero glaze.
Nice.
So that's going to be probably this weekend at the breweries that I'm doing.
You're doing Noble?
I'm doing Santa Ana River and Noble. Yeah,
Noble.
I'm doing Santa Ana River Friday and Noble Sunday, but so something like that. So I'd like to do a lot of fruit. And again, going back to like out here in California, people are like, "Oh, that's interesting." Like I am super interested in that because it's not like, oh, I can, get traditional barbecue, because like, okay, you guys know what Dickie's barbecue is, right? Or Lucille's, right? So a lot of people's perception of barbecue is these places, because like objectively, like they're okay. They're like a 7 out of 10, right? They're better than average, but they're not great. And so a lot of people who have had those think, okay, well, that's barbecue. That's fine. So if you hit them with something that's like a little out of the box, but is executed well, they can be like, oh, that's interesting because it's not what my perception of regular barbecue is.
Yeah, they're gonna trip out if they have one of your guys' barbecue because Lucille's is way off. It used to be great. It used to be pretty good when they first opened, but they are way off. Sorry, Lucille's. I know you're big time, but
man,
you guys are way off mark.
We'll go into what Mike was saying earlier about the coleslaw. We have a lot of folks. So I make a sesame ginger coleslaw because I don't like creamy coleslaw. So it is, sesame oil, ginger, rice wine vinegar instead. And a lot of folks who don't like coleslaw enjoy it, because it's refreshing. And I also sometimes don't even use cabbage. I use broccoli slaw instead with that same dressing because it's a different, stays crunchier. It's just a different texture. And overall it's just different, right?
Oh, yeah.
But while still maintaining the sameness that you need to not scare people away from it. Right.
Yeah.
I use honey peanuts in mine.
Honey peanuts?
Yeah.
Wow.
Pineapple and,
Then maybe the better question is not whether you should do traditional or new, is whether LA or this Southern California area is more open to those flavors, right? Because I think if you went to try to do your crazy fruit stuff in Texas, they'd be like, get out of here, boy. Like we just only do pepper and smoked pepper and salt.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, I lived in Austin and I went to, I would say arguably some of the best Texas barbecues in Central Texas are, obviously there's some spots that aren't in Central Texas, but arguably most of them are kind of in that area. And I went to most of them. And, I would say out of all of them, 90% of them were very good, right? They were what you'd expect from a well-cooked piece of brisket, some well-cooked ribs. The flavors were fine. But like the thing that sticks in my mind is the sameness of it all, right? Like the cook on the brisket was very good. The cook on the brisket was very good. The cook on the brisket was very good.
You're saying consistency.
But correct. But the point is each restaurant didn't bring anything special.
Yeah, nothing out of the ordinary.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, it was well cooked. That's good for you.
You almost have to, because like if you're in Texas, you're like
Same
sitting in the
flavors.
middle of Texas.
Same
It's like
flavors.
That's what I'm saying. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
same
It's like
flavor.
good for you. Like, thank you for doing the thing that everyone else does. You did it well. So,
If you do it
did they.
different.
You know what I mean?
So what you're saying is all we got to do is find one spot in Texas and we're good.
I mean, find the one that you like there, whatever side, because honestly, in my personal opinion, out of all of them, that's how I differentiate which one I like more. I like the sides there more than I like the sides here. And for me, when you're breaking it down to which one had better sides because all the meat was just as good and it was fine, it was not special.
Yeah.
That's kind of the problem, right? Because not that there's so much you can do with like a brisket that's out of the ordinary, that's really going to blow someone's mind.
No.
But the presentation can be, or the things that are around it can be enough more interesting to make it, unique or a little more appealing than just like, oh, it's mac and cheese with brisket and, coleslaw and it's creamy. It's good mac. It's whatever. But like I said, it's the sameness of it all out there that I feel like is what, like, again, if you love that kind of barbecue, that's just what you're into.
Well, you're flying out there for that, right?
Oh,
Like,
totally.
I mean, that's your barbecue Disneyland is where you're going.
You talked to Eric from Grillfellas, and him and his wife went and did a tour of barbecue restaurants in Texas.
Because you'd be pissed if you showed up at this, like, you see the freaking sign, you see the freaking cowboy hat on the sign and everything like that. This Texas barbecue. You roll up and they give you like a kimchi taco with short ribs. You'd be pretty pissed, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's torchies for that, out there in Texas. There's places that do that, the Tex-Mex style kind of weird stuff, but definitely not what you'd expect from like Franklin's or County Line or Salt Lake or any of those like, traditional Texas barbecue places that you would.
That's awesome. I can hear somebody from Texas who's listening to the show right now going, you California, just keep that uniqueness over there.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
they're probably hating us right now.
I used to do, a brisket with Irish peat moss, what they use for the whiskey.
Oh, wow.
And it's kind of expensive, but I would do it for you. It's when you smell it, it smells like a tobacco pipe. And then I don't know if you've smelled it or not.
Oh, wow.
Whiskey, but it comes out on the brisket and you smell the brisket, you slice the brisket, you smell that.
Holy moly.
Awesome.
Irish peat moss?
Irish peat moss. Because I used to do it with this. I used to do the Scotch Club every year in downtown LA. So it was a big old thing. They'd buy everything for me and I'd charge them. And I would do that all those. I did 15 briskets.
Damn. You can still get that stuff?
I still get it.
That's crazy. See, Bill?
I'll save it for you.
Save me some peat moss. I can.
peat moss.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw that in my smoker.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, like Mike was saying about, you go to Texas and you're right. Everybody does sell the same food and everything. But out here, everybody has a different style of how they cook. Like, Mr. Vinegar and Smoke was saying that he has a spin to his. Same with mine. I have a spin to mine. And I do a pulled pork taco with handmade tortilla and with the, what's it called? Pico de gallo. And then I do, what's it called? Chile de árbol salsa.
Oh, damn. Chile de árbol is spicy.
Yeah. And he liked that because he was saying the Hispanic, people, or where your pop-up's going to be.
Yeah.
That's how I know. And then I got the tri-tip nachos. And I do like spin on it. And
That was my idea. You stole it from me.
Oh man, Bill, come on. You should. We're gonna keep it. We're gonna supposed to share that secret, man. But people were like, "Oh, you sell nachos with the yellow cheese? You nasty." And I said, "Nah, man." I go, "Mine has a spin to it, And
What do you mean? You sell it with Velveeta cheese or what?
No, I don't sell it with cheese. I have my own spin.
Oh,
to
they
it.
want the Velveeta cheese.
No, they don't. They're like, "What is this?" So my nachos are pretty much. You get the tortilla chips, the big thick ones, and I make my own refried beans.
Damn.
And I'll give you your choice of pulled pork or tri-tip, and then or both if you want.
Oh, my mouth
and then I put cebolla, cilantro, tomatoes.
I saw the picture you had on there.
Yeah, and then I'll throw in
where are you gonna be Saturday?
Some sour cream, and then on top with queso fresco, and then the jalapenos in the middle.
Damn.
And
You need
people,
that cheese, yeah?
Velveeta cheese, no man.
My experience with nachos is 7-Eleven.
Man. So
and then the chili. So that sounds incredible.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Man, this is something amazing," and they'll eat them.
Yeah,
and you get for $15, and then it's like, "I'll take 10."
Damn.
Yeah. So matter of fact, this last Sunday,
do a whole 10.
Yeah, this 2 weeks ago when I did a pop up in Uptown Whittier, I had actually 2 boxers come down. And
what day were you Uptown Whittier?
Uptown Whittier, I was in.
I told you. No, I'm still.
On Wednesday?
Oh,
I was there. When I was there, wasn't I? Did I miss it? Did I miss it?
Yeah, actually, it was July 31st.
Oh, in July.
Yeah, July 31st. I was there.
You didn't know him back then.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, right. I didn't get the message until later.
Oh my god!
And I had 2 boxers come down, and they ordered them, and they were like, "Man, we're here for the nachos." I didn't know who they were, and they came in.
Professional boxers.
Professional boxers.
Damn.
Yeah, some young girl, and he's gonna fight some other guy, and his name is Soto. He's gonna be fighting at the Commerce Casino in August, I think, coming up.
Oh wow!
And he said, "Man, this is the best pulled pork nachos I've had. Tri-tip nachos. They killed them, man.
Tri-tip nachos. That sounds amazing.
Nacho, yeah." So I was like, like he was saying, everybody has to spend it because I actually went on his page on Mr. Vinegar right here, and he said you like skewers with pork belly, right?
I just put them on the skewer for service. I cooked them without the skewers, but I put them on there.
Yeah, I seen that. I was like, man, that looks good, man. That gave me an idea.
Dude, he comes out with some crazy,
I was like,
ideas,
cool.
man. And the stuff is incredible. When he came to the podcast, he did a, what was that? It was a round of
beef eye of round.
Eye of round, yeah.
Smoked it, and then I made a chimichurri to bring with it.
I love chimichurri.
God, I was freaking devouring that thing. That's
you never had the eye around before.
I've never had an eye round. You guys had eye round before? Am I the only guy that does?
Oh man, he calls himself a barbecue.
I'm too busy eating.
He lives in Whittier, right?
Oh man, Whittier's just started this new trend. Everybody's coming over here because they don't have a license. I found out the secret now.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
With you.
I love it. It's the wild rush out here. If you want to be a barbecue guy, come on out.
Well, some cities don't like La Mirada. You can't do any of that in La Mirada.
You can't?
That
close?
Yeah, my buddy lives there. He goes, watch, they can keep that guy out in an hour. Sure enough, they came.
In an hour?
Yeah, they'll boot you out of there. They don't want any of that.
What the heck?
So California changed that law that I was talking about. But the caveat to that is counties have to opt in.
Oh, so it depends on county to county.
Correct. Yeah. So even though the state passed the ability for the counties to opt into that program, individual counties still have to choose whether or not to participate. So Orange County obviously did not. Parts of LA County have. So.
Dang, that's crazy. Well, if you guys want to test that, you just call me over and I'll eat the food, and then we'll just keep eating until the cops come. It's okay. I'll offer that service out to you guys.
Yeah, but don't call me at 8:00 at night.
I called. I'm always late to everything. I called this guy to see if he was at his pop up at like 9:00 at night, And like everything's already over.
I was in bed already, man. Actually, I was at the DoubleTree.
You're at the DoubleTree?
With my friend with the bartender, giving them the food.
Making him the pulled pork and the tried. Oh, man, he was so happy.
Oh, man, he was excited.
Oh, my God. Let's finish it off with something positive. Guys, how do we cannot control, obviously, some of these pop-ups. We can't always control, like, there's only going to be one barbecue guy. You've been in the situation where you show up and there's like, all of a sudden there's 5 barbecue guys that they didn't tell you about. How do we promote or help, create a way to promote each other? Because the promoter's not going to do it. They're obviously not going to do it. How do we help each other out or network or create ways that we can kind of help each other out and promote each other? Any ideas, Bill?
Well, if we all share our Instagram stuff and Vinegar and Smoke, Gordo's barbecue's going to be here, support my buddies here. And, if we all come together and help each other out, because no one else is going to do it. Basically, if the promoter's not going to do it, then who's left?
Yeah, they're pretty much depending on you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, not only that, I would say that goes a long way for a lot of different reasons, because, for example, Gordo's Barbecue has folks who trust that his food is good, that trust that his palette and choice of flavors is good. If he says, hey, you guys should check out this other thing, they are more likely to go, you know what? I'm going to check it out. I'm going to go check out that other thing because this is something that I know I enjoy. And, it's like getting the celebrity endorsement of a Rolex, right? Like it's going to be good no matter what, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be good because it's going to be good because it's good, but it's also like you're getting that kind of trust built in because they trust the product.
Yeah, there's an element of trust there, because if Gordo's saying that Oso's is good, it's because he knows barbecue. I've ate his food before. I trust his food. I trust his service. And he says to go to Oso, I'm going to try it. You know what I mean? How
many times have you watched a YouTube video of the guy from Meat Church who says, this is really great. I'm going to order some of that.
Yeah.
Well, my followers, a lot of my followers, I don't trust them there. Like I would be firm to you guys. Mm-hmm. I'm not doing it. I'm out of town. Oh, I'll just wait. Forget it. I go, no, go. I'm not taking offense. We all got to help each other out. He's good.
That's I think what has to happen is the way Bill does it is you're able to have that humility where you can send people, I'm not going to lose. There's enough business out there for everybody. Yeah. So I can send it, Jeff is the one from McGilla's that introduced me to you, and that's how I found you. And now we're here. So everybody.
And I give him jobs. I refer people to him.
Yeah.
I don't mind doing that.
So it's got to be like that.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying earlier, but everyone's got to eat more than one time a day. And, I don't know. And I've been referred to, we have people who are repeat customers, sure. But that doesn't mean they don't hire other companies to do food for them. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
When I first started doing food, I got kind of a shock that so many companies were like, I'm not going to tell you how I got this license. And I'm not going to tell you where I got this piece of equipment. And I'm not going to tell you anything about anything because I don't want to compete with you. It's like, why wouldn't you just help somebody? It's not hurting you to give them that information. They're not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially someone who's just starting. What are the chances of somebody who's just starting actually taking your customer?
No, you're right.
Very little. Mm-hmm. What does it hurt you to help them?
Yeah.
Virtually nothing.
Yeah, that's what's been kind of crazy to see the way you guys operate, especially this group here, and especially the guys who are at the VFW. Everybody kind of helps each other out. Nobody kind of hates on each other. I like that about that, and we got to keep that going.
And with me, like what Mike was saying, I met Bill through Instagram, and I reached out to him and I say, I'm barely, I've been in the game for almost going on 3 years now. And I called him out. I said, hey, you think I could stop by and we could, talk barbecue? He said, come on down. Started asking questions. And I thank Bill because, Bill's been there for me. He took me under his wing when he shouldn't, like he was saying.
You didn't have to.
You didn't have to, and I appreciate that from him. And he'll send me customers and they'll be like, oh, well, Bill sent me, to call you. And I'm like, yeah, come on down. Not a problem,
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good, and I appreciate that from him. And, and I thank you, brother, for that.
You got it, man. Anytime, man.
Yeah. So, there is competition. But like you said, if we could all help each other, we're all in it for the same, same thing, make money, make some good foods and, and continue building this barbecue business.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
And people will call me for tacos and I go, well, what kind of tacos do you want? Or you want the $2 taco or you want, some craft tacos? I'll send them to you because you do that stuff.
Sweet.
And they, oh, yeah, well, I want to spend, okay, call Vinegar and Smoke and whoever else, and he'll help you out.
That's awesome.
So,
which obviously I appreciate.
Yeah. I mean,
It's funny. He has referred several to me, and it just has worked out that the dates they want.
Oh, really?
I already had things booked, but
Same.
Dang.
but yeah, it's been.
So there's like then there is enough business for everybody because you guys can't be everywhere.
That's what I'm saying, and that's exactly it. And those folks are going to remember, like, oh, he referred me, so it might hit you back next time, anyways.
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? So
They'll remember.
back in the old days, they would call me and I had nobody. There was nobody here.
So you're happy.
Yeah.
You're happy, Bill. You're like, I don't want to do all of them.
All this shit.
Poor Bill had to do all of them. It was just Bill.
I don't know what to tell you. No.
Dang, that's awesome. Well, we got to keep this going. We got to do another one of these barbecue roundtables. This was Bill's idea, by the way. When I asked him, Bill, I got to get you on the podcast. He's like, I want everybody here, not just me. So he gave me a list of who he wants. We have a great chat together on Instagram as well. Now we got a food chat together. So we're going to do this again, hopefully next month, hopefully every couple months. We got to keep it going to keep the group together, to keep everybody promoting each other. The only way you guys are going to be able to do it is to promote each other through social media.
Yeah, you're right.
Keep that link together. Keep the conversations going. Yeah. Digital marketing is the way to go, and it's just awesome. So,
Ray,
yes, sir.
What I'd like to do, and I'm not saying anything.
Got another idea?
No, one more idea of all of us to do like a little competition.
Oh, hell yeah.
Friendly somewhere, just all the guys in Whittier, wherever,
We can do that in my backyard.
Yeah.
And it'll be a hard competition because I have the most crappiest smoker and I have the crappiest braille. It'll be a challenge, actually. It won't be a competition. It'll be a challenge to cook in my backyard.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Nice.
Yeah,
We'll do it. We'll do
Yeah.
it.
Make sure you reach out to me not through a couple hours later, days later. Hey, you want to come and do a podcast?
I'll hit you up at like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And I'll be like,
I messed up.
we're actually
call me, But that's good, man. Yeah.
No, but now we have the chat. So we're together on the chat now. So we'll keep it going.
You're together forever.
We're together forever.
Man.
That's
it. We're done.
We own the burning bull. You earn your burning bull.
You're getting the burning bull now.
The best of the best. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I appreciate each one of you guys for coming out. Like I said, we're going to do a series of these barbecue talks to keep people in the loop. People need to know what's going on in the barbecue world. It's a great subject. Who doesn't like food? Who doesn't like small business? Let's support these guys. Guys, find Grillfellas on Instagram. Find Vinegar and Smoke on Instagram. Find Gordo's Barbecue on Instagram, and find out where they're going to be next time, where they're going to cook, because these guys are the top of the top. These guys are the best in this area. I'm telling you, I'm amazed that they're on my show. It's been an awesome show. It's been an awesome conversation. Thank you so much for listening. I want to thank my sponsors, Jeremy Alvarez and Salarosco. You guys, thanks again for listening. Don't forget to go to raceflaves.com and follow me at raceflaves on Instagram. We will see you next time. Have a great one.
They gotta get rid of $50.
There you go. Each of you guys had a commercial right there.
Yeah, right. It's like, come get us.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was cool, man.